There it is. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Anna
Live.
Nicole Show.
Kids don't
Whoop,
lie.
whoop, whoop. I'm Nicole.
Hey,
That's Anna.
Anna, not Nicole. And today, on today's episode, we fluffed it out, bitch.
We're wearing, that's Anna
Fluff it
Banana,
out.
and I'm wearing the yellow shirt. We are so
You're
unorganized.
wearing the banana yellow.
We're just fuck ups. I mean, that's the bottom line. We're never gonna get it right. Sorry, booze.
I got a banana yellow cup.
Look,
Does that
I
count?
still have my fall flowers from last Halloween up last fall.
Oh, can't believe they made it a whole year and didn't die or lose a petal.
They're fake.
Oh,
from the dollar store, Dollar Tree.
Oh, there you go.
I fluff them out too, so they look, real. Cheers.
Cheers, bitch. Holla.
Okay, so we have no idea what we're going to be talking about today, but we're just going to wing it like a ding it. Okay, so actually, there is like one thing we briefly discussed we're going to talk about. Okay. And I think it's important and more people should know about it. The fact that it's been out since I think 2019 and I haven't heard it until today is weird.
Anything that happened after 2019 and you haven't heard of it till today, blame COVID.
But it was about Michael Jackson.
Blame COVID.
Okay, so let's just watch this video really quick. We're gonna do a quick little screen share.
People don't die until much. Basically, that's
me. Wasn't she on a show?
Worst case of all time, right? Because he was giving them, they was administering anesthesia every night so he can go to sleep. Dude,
that's crazy.
I was playing "Want to Be Starting Something" and Thriller in the car on the way taking my son to school, and I start crying just because it's like, how do you explain what he was and how monumental what he did was? Like, I can remember seeing him dancing to Billie Jean and like how kind of like broke the mold for music and the persona that he had and that level of creativity. Yeah, it was weird. And to be in the car with my kid who doesn't really knows the name, but didn't,
right.
It's just, that's not part of.
Well, that's the thing is like everybody in life, they're going to have like those experiences. Like I was in Florida when Michael Jackson died. Like I remember I was in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, and in all the bars, like everybody was dressing up as Michael Jackson. Like there was like hundreds of like Michael Jackson impersonators like out everywhere. It was crazy.
Really?
Really? Sorry, I need to check this really quick because I'm a psychopath. What the fuck?
I was really upset. John and I had just moved in together. We had this house on 111 in Islip. And it was like we had just moved. We finished moving into the house, and he was putting down like new floors in the living room.
When Michael Jackson died?
When Michael Jackson died. That was like 2008, 2009.
Oh,
and
okay.
It was all of a sudden, it just came up on the news, and I was like, oh my, like this. That to me was like Princess Diana dying to other people.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's, and the same with like 9/11. Like everybody's gonna remember that different, and like how it affects us. Like I remember being like, I remember when Prince died too. That happened like I think 2016, right when I got out of jail. Actually, I think it was like 2 days after I got out of jail. But yeah, like everyone has a different memory of like where you were, where they were, and like how it impacted them. And then it's like when you try to express that to somebody else, they'll just never understand,
No. With Michael Jackson, that shit was like.
And the fucked up part is that like
that one hurt.
he was so gifted and talented, but he was like kind of a creep and like, okay, we'll get into that.
It's not part of his life.
Maybe you should introduce him to that movie, that documentary. What was that one documentary they did? This Is It? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Does that get into the drugs and stuff? And how many years was he doing it for? So sad.
Not very long. But here's one of the more fucked up things. This is something I speculated a long time ago. His doctor, who went to jail for giving him the anesthesia, also testified that Michael Jackson was chemically castrated by his parents when he was young to preserve his voice. That's what I suspected. I talked about on the podcast like years ago. I was saying this.
Puberty blockers. Just saying. Same thing as puberty blockers.
Think he was a castrata, which is they take young boys, and they used to do this with opera, and they would castrate them at a very young age. And because of that, their body never developed testosterone. So they would develop this high, piercing, like haunting voice. It's very strange. Like we played there's only a few recordings of actual castratas that are available, or castratos, one of those. But when you play them, they're haunting. Because you realize like this is a kid created as a baby so that he could be a singer. Like this is fucked up. And that's what Michael Jackson's doctor said they did to Michael. They did it through chemicals. They chemically castrated him. The same way
his
they do
argument
to
is,
pedophiles.
I'm just trying to regulate a situation that was already far gone. Is that his defense?
No, I mean, there's no defense. The doctor's just fucking, it's just, he killed him. I mean, killed Michael Jackson, let him get anesthesia until he died. His defense wasn't that. He was just saying, there's something else.
Right.
Like Michael Jackson was fucked up. Like his parents literally chemically castrated him to preserve his voice because he was the lead singer of the Jackson 5 when he was a baby. And that was part of what was great about him, was like, oh, baby, give me one more chance. Like that voice.
Nice falsetto there.
Thank you. That voice was nothing like anything that he would be capable of doing as an adult if he grew into a man. Right. He would have this big old man, I want to get some pussy voice. He would be like, no,
I'm sorry?
Where's little Michael? He would have like a Barry White voice or something. Like, fuck, you can't have that. Like, you're Michael. You're ABC. It's the easiest one.
Well, he may not have gotten that deep with his voice, but I guess if you think that's to be believed, he'd never had the chance.
I believe it. You know why I believe it? Because his voice didn't sound anything like a regular man's. And it didn't sound anything like his brothers. His brothers all look like regular grown-ass men. Michael Jackson's deep voice. That's not deep.
Oh, that's got cold.
That sounds like John Rivers.
Mid-rangey.
I was looking it up. All those places I'm seeing that story about him being castrated are like tabloidy, the Sun and that kind of stuff.
Right, but wasn't it an interview in like it was a UK paper.
Yeah, no, I just Googled. It was the Sun, which is like not the best.
The Sun, right? The Daily Mail's the worst.
Both of them actually.
Are they the same? They equal?
Yeah, I would think so.
See, I'm hoping that's so true.
The last time you talked about this, I got some messages. I don't know. Again, I was getting videos like this of showing like examples of his deep talking voice.
See, that's not deep. There's a lot of chicks that have way deeper voices.
Yeah,
Listen.
All right, we don't need to go any further, but
no.
It makes, I don't know. I mean, I did a little bit of research to see, like, I'm not going to just trust everything freaking Joe Rogan says, of course, but it makes so much sense. It's not even funny.
You know who I want to sit and talk to? You know who I really want to sit and fucking talk to about Michael Jackson? His BFF, Macaulay Culkin. Have you seen that fucking psychopath? Don't get me wrong. I love Macaulay Culkin. I think he's a fucking riot. But have you seen his Instagram? He's got like these fucking like videos. He's hysterical. He burned down his $7 million freaking penthouse, emancipated himself from his parents because his parents were basically like pimping him out like a Kardashian back in the 90s. Took all his money and fucking ran.
I mean, and
and what kills me, he bought the fucking Limelight in 2001.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
he had bought the Limelight, and he was a partner. He was like a silent partner for the Limelight. Right before they changed the name to Avalon, I want to say, and right around the time we went to Boo, remember the rave we went in the city. We were
I mean,
blowing.
is
We
that
were
when we
doing bumps
peed
in
in
the
the
back
middle of
seat
the?
of the cab.
Is that when we peed in the middle of the street in Queens?
Always be in the middle of the street.
No,
No, no,
like,
that was a drum and bass party.
that
That was
was
a
with
drum
like
and bass
Kira
party.
and Jimmy.
Yeah, that was a World of Drum and Bass party. But no, this was way before then. It
Yeah, okay.
was
I know, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that's when we met Five the Mouse in front of Penn Station.
That's the night we fought.
No, I think when we fought was after that.
No, we fought and then we met Fightful the Mouse, and then we were like, why are we fighting? They're Fightful or something. Like, why are we mad at each
Oh
other?
my god.
To us.
And then he like ran over to some guy's box, and I'm like, you can't go in there. That's somebody's house. Oh, I miss the old New York.
Oh my God. Last time I was well, did you see that video to check into the hotel and the rat was walking up to my suitcase? And I'm like,
No.
I probably sent it to you. It was like a couple years ago.
Maybe not. I don't know,
But
but
anyway,
I don't
back to
know.
Michael Jackson. He it makes sense because he was okay. So first off, chemically castrated is a term that means you're not going to let the dick develop, in so many words. So it's the same thing as what we call puberty blockers now. It's also the same thing that they used to prescribe back in the day. Can you hear me?
Really? Yeah, I can hear you. Really?
Yeah, the puberty blockers that are getting prescribed to children today is the same medication that they used to prescribe to pedophiles back in the day to chemically castrate them. So that's what's happening, is that when a kid takes a puberty blocker, it's blocking them from puberty. So technically they're not cutting their dick off, which is why it's not castration, it's chemical. So they're not able to build testosterone. So they're not going to go through puberty. And this is what puberty blockers is. It is not reversible. I have watched a lot of documentary, and if we want to talk about it even now or another time, I will pull it up. Any kid, especially male, I don't know about, I think male and female, I think they call it Tanner stage 1 or Tanner stage 2. Any kids, which basically means it's a kid that's taking puberty blockers, they will never ever experience an orgasm. So any kid that takes puberty blockers now, because their parent, they're gonna kill themselves if they don't. The parents feel bad. Head flapping from the Canadians on South Park. Head flaps. That's what you're doing to your child. They'll never be able to have a kid. They'll never be able to orgasm, and so no like sexual pleasure ever. Could you imagine like how messed up that is? And then not only that, their dick stays small. Baby dick. That's why Jazz Jennings had all those issues. Like, dude, she was put on puberty blockers as a kid. She was chemically castrated, and she didn't have enough skin in her penis because she has a small penis. And was when she went to get a vagina. So she had a baby penis. Like, she didn't have a penis. She never went through puberty. So she had a small one. They had to take, skin and bone from her arm to do it, to make it a vagina. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's what they do for the penis. I don't know what they had to do. I think they'd take skin from other places and She had 3 really bad complications. She gained a ton of weight. She's depressed. And I feel bad for her because she was a victim. Like, she was a child that, maybe she does feel trans, but it's not right to put any child on that medication. So all these people could be like, wow, they chemically castrated Michael Jackson? Oh yeah, but I also think that you should give kids puberty blockers. Bitch, it's the same thing.
It is. It really
It's
is.
actually the same medication, like literally the same medication. And look how he turned out. Obviously, he I was saying this before to you, but like it kind of makes sense. Him hanging out with children. He never went through puberty. He was always really weird, and
Felt
when your
like he was Peter Pan and lived in Neverland.
we're not the ones who designed us. We don't know who did. That doesn't matter, but we know that we didn't design ourselves, right? And it's like the person that did, or however we were meant to be, was to have certain things in our body. And okay, yeah, we have technology, people want to get changed, but it's so important to go through fucking puberty first. And trust me, puberty sucks. It's not a fun time. Glad I don't have to go through it, but
You know what else sucks? And that isn't a fun time? Pregnancy. And men can't do it. We're the only ones that can do it. Only us with the XY chromosome. No, the XX chromosome. They have a Y chromosome, then they're good.
That doesn't suck because you're creating life. But the thing that does suck is putting a child on puberty blockers and not allowing them to be able to create life. Pain, yeah, okay, I get that, but that's totally different creating life than taking a medication to block puberty. Very different.
Puking chicken through your fucking nose? No.
You would do it 3 more times to have your son, so just be quiet.
I probably would. But if I knew about fucking little corn kernels getting shoved out of my nose while I was puking, probably would be like, let's put a pin in that and we'll come back to it.
But that's like a totally different thing. Like you're blocking somebody from being able to even ever have that experience.
I'm not okay with that.
And like there's plenty, you don't have to have a kid. You know what I mean? There's plenty of ways. You don't have to have sex. You can use condoms. You can use birth control. If you get pregnant, there's plan B, abortion, whatever. Like those.
Whatever you want to do.
There's not options when you're chemically castrated, though.
No.
It is not reversible. Puberty blockers are not reversible. They are not reversible.
They are not.
Okay, wait. Let me just correct. They may be reversible if you are taking them for less than a year or like less than 6 months, but taking them in any length of time from like 15 to 19, not reversible. You cannot at 19 then all of a sudden go through puberty. If you're taking them for like a month or 2, I got to assume, I don't know the facts, that it may be reversible, but so yeah, that's how I feel. And I feel sad for Michael Jackson, and I see his kid online a lot, and he's weird too, and I don't know.
His daughter is beautiful.
Yeah, and didn't he name like one of his kids Blanket?
Yes.
Where's Blanket? Because there's this one guy, and I think he's Michael Jackson's son, and he looks like him, but his name's not Blanket.
No, there's Paris. I think there's one that's called Prince, and the other one's Blanket.
Don't put your kids on puberty blockers. See, you don't like.
No.
I would,
let your kids be kids, all right?
And then let them be teenagers. Then let them be adults.
They want to,
And then once they get past that hump, then they can make their own decisions.
Exactamundo.